Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're back, man. Episode 313.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get right into it. What we got here. Let's get what I'm about to say. Switching gears, but it's the first fucking topic. Anyways, Walmart. Walmart is charging a subscription fee for the freaking self-checkout, so you could pay up to $98 a year to get unlimited self-checkouts. Basically, let me explain this to make it short. Initially, Walmart thought they was pulling a fast one because they wanted to get these self-checkout machines there in order to cut back on probably spending on employees and hours and time. Mm-hmm. But there ended up being massive thefts. Niggas were scanning TVs as oranges. So they started stealing so much stuff that they said, oh no, we have to get self-checkout back off. We can't do this. Now they got it to where they want to make it like an express thing, to where if you pay for a $12.95 monthly subscription to Walmart Plus, you can use self-checkout. Walmart's full of shit. This is bullshit, man. So here it goes. Staff can now choose to shut down self-checkout for everyone except members of $12.95 a month Walmart Plus subscription and delivery drivers. The change hasn't gone over well with shoppers who have been vocal with their disapproval on social media. One recently posted on X, formerly Twitter, to share their bad experience with self-checkout. Do something with self-checkout and spark drivers, he said. The customer claimed that the registers kept exclusively for Walmart Plus members and delivery drivers were not being used, even though there was a line of customers waiting to check out. It's not right leaving customers waiting when the two Spark Cash registers are going unused, he said. The customer is not the only one who has voiced their frustrations. Walmart is no different than the government. These niggas just want money. They want to find a way to save as much money as possible. That's all they trying to do. And now they want to not make you, but pay. Like, you got to be dumb to pay these motherfuckers $98 a year for this fucking subscription. Like, I'm already paying. It's already hard enough to pay for regular items, but now you want to charge customers for this.
Yeah. The thing is, you're actually saving money as a company by not having to pay someone minimum wage to run the actual cash register. So I don't understand why this fee is in there. This is similar to what they do with certain apps, where they'll make the app free for like 3 or 4 years, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, hey, this service is no longer free, we're charging $5.99 a month for this. So it's the same thing. But the thing is just it's like, I don't know, I don't know how this will play out, but if anything, like, I just hope that the self-checkouts is empty. Because it don't make no sense for you to already be buying things in the store, unless you offering something that's just like that, like, great. Self-checkout is like,
that shit weak, man.
It's not even that convenient.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it actually takes longer. The things are so much smaller.
Right.
You got to bring your own bags because a lot of times they be running out of bags.
Ridiculous.
It's all kind of stuff. And for a person that is like going grocery shopping, like if you buying groceries for like 2 weeks and you spending like maybe like $150 or something like that, it's gonna take you a good like 20 minutes to like scan everything and bag everything up. It's just like it's not worth the money.
I think what fucks me up about self-checkout, they got the nerve to ask for a question, like a little questionnaire after you get done. Mm-hmm. Like, how many stars would you rate this? Like, you want me to give a rating for doing your job, nigga? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, are you satisfied with my own customer service? Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna tell you something too. This is disgusting, and I'm calling out McDonald's too. I went to McDonald's out there in Castaic, and I went to get 2 McDoubles.
They don't take the orders, huh?
They don't take them.
That's stupid.
You got to go to the fucking robot and type it in. And I'm going to tell you why McDonald's don't give a fuck about their customers. Because it was an elderly couple sitting there lost, and I had to help them. Why am I helping y'all do y'all fucking job?
It's stupid. They don't actually talk to you.
Right, exactly.
Like, that's the whole, that's the reason why the most successful stores in any sector it's based off of customer service.
Yeah.
Like the stores that we like to go to are the ones where they welcome us in, they smile, they meet you at your car or whatever the case may be. If I walk into this is just me speaking about my own personal experience. There's been situations where I've walked in a store and if nobody greeted me and I just stood there for like I'm gonna even say 5 minutes, but like 3 minutes and ain't nobody spoke to me. You got employees talking to each other and all this stuff. I just walk out. Yeah, for sure.
I don't trust y'all to make my food now.
Yeah, all you got to do is say hi, welcome in. That's all I need. And if I want to engage in a conversation, cool. If not, then I'll just go, walk around the store by myself. But no, I had the same experience. I went into a McDonald's and somebody was actually paying for my food, but they were like, like they gave me like $20 or whatever, and I ordered. I seen the sign, so it wasn't like super right. I wasn't super lost, but you see the sign there, and then I was like, well. He was like, can you pay with cash? And I was like, I would think so. Like, why, why wouldn't they accept cash? So I go over there and I put the thing in and I'm like, there's no way to put money in here. They just got a regular ATM thing sitting on the thing.
What?
So,
oh no.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, they don't accept cash. So he ended up taking his card out or whatever, but it's not customer service, bro.
No.
Like using a robot, there's a certain level of convenience. Like I said, like sometimes the lines at Walmart be super long. But that's kind of where the convenience stops.
Yeah, we're trying to expedite the process too much, man. We got to go back to the old school, man.
We need some human to.
Yeah.
I would say too. Sorry to cut you off. I would say too. I went into Bank of America one day, and I remember. I think I told this story before, but I went in there one time, and I had a decent check. It was probably like, it was a few $1,000s, right? So I had a decent check, but I know when the checks are pretty large, they'll hold it for like days till the government can look at it and see where the money is, all this other stupid stuff, right? Yeah. So I walk in and I'm already knowing this, right? So I walk in and I tell the person is like, hey, like, are you here to pull money out? But like, what are you here? I was like, hey, yeah, I'm here to cash my check. And I was like, oh, you can go outside and put it into the ATM. And I was like,
no,
I was like, I didn't question. I was just like, all right, cool. Like y'all know better than me. So I went out there, I did it, and it held the money for like a week or something like that.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah. So not the next time, but another time I came back and actually called somebody called me on the phone and was like, hey, we're trying to, connect with our customers again and all this other stuff. So I went in there and they helped me with some account stuff. And I was like, yeah, like I came in a couple times and they're just telling everybody to go to the ATMs outside. And she was like, yeah, we're trying to change that because, people basically were complaining that, we're not actually talking to nobody. Everything is so automated. So I say Walmart, McDonald's, whatever, there's a value to actually talking to people.
They know this.
Yeah.
They know there is, but this is the issue with the numbers people. The numbers people went in the office, said, we actually don't need any customer service. They've been eating burgers for years. They're going to continue to eat burgers for years. They're going to continue to shop. So we don't care about them. We just want to expedite the process and we can save X amount of dollars by not hiring people. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, man, fuck y'all. That's not cool. And then here's the thing. The whole McDonald's thing is I'm finding myself doing y'all job. Like, that ain't cool because what about the elderly? You know what I'm saying? Elderly barely know how to work their fucking phone.
Yeah, it's different if it's like these new generation alpha. I don't know what the name of these kids are these days, but they're probably going to grow up in a world where this is normal to them. Yeah. But if me and Eddie's age, we used to having cash walking up to the register and talking to somebody, helping you figure out what you want, or being able to specialize the thing, or being able to ask the cashier like, hey, what's good here? I've never been here before. These type of questions that are like human to human interaction. But what they're trying to do is like they're trying to remove the actual human beings as much as possible, but it's not actually doing anything, because when I look in the back of the McDonald's kitchen, there's still a bunch of people back there. It's like all you need is one of those people to come and take orders. So I don't know. I think that it seems like they're trying to replace humans with this technology, which is dope. Like it's cool to have like technology sometimes, but I think that more times than not, people want to talk. They want to talk to somebody. I can't tell you how many times like we've been frustrated by talking to the freaking computer when we gotta call our bank or talking to the computer. I don't want
to talk to R2D2 to get my fucking money.
Exactly, man. It doesn't. Oh, you got a pressing issue with your phone or your phone account or your computer or something, and it's just like they're just running you through. You know, I called Spectrum the other day, and it was like they're asking me these questions that they are supposedly supposedly able to answer through their automated system. And when I actually try to talk to somebody, they're like,
incorrect.
They're like, we're closed. And I'm like, like, y'all can't actually fix my problem on the phone, but then you just going to tell me we're closed and you going to hang up the phone?
Look, man, this is why the companies that do have good customer service are kind of thriving. Like In-N-Out, they have good customer service.
That's what I'm saying.
Chick-fil-A is probably number one. I don't really care for neither one of them, but Chick-fil-A got the best and the best customer service.
That's what I'm saying. They'll meet you at your car,
right? And they care, like they go above and beyond. They'll be like, "Okay, you like a chicken sandwich? Would you like some head, sir?" And I'd be like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we give head here now." I'm like, "Wow, this is insane."
Would you like to add some head to your order?
You're like, "Yes, please. Can I have some head with Polynesian sauce?"
Nah, the head on the secret menu.
How do you ask for it?
I don't know. You just got to know. Like, you just got to know to ask for the head.
Just got to show up on a random Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah, they were like, I thought this was Chick-fil-A. This is Dick-fil-A. Oh my God!
Gotta ask for the number 69.
Like, can I get a number 69 with Polynesian sauce? It's like, sir, can you get out the car, please? What do you mean? Step out the car, please.
In the front seat or the back seat?
You're like, oh, we in the back. Oh my God, this is crazy.
It would only fly at In-N-Out just because they name is low key nasty already. So yeah, you gotta not at Chick-fil-A. That's an In-N-Out secret menu.
No, Chick-fil-A. They be more. I think Chick-fil-A would probably be more likely to do some shit like that
because they Christian.
What do you mean?
The Christians be like super Christian girls be kind of nasty.
Yeah, they'd be like, I know the Lord will forgive me for this.
No,
I'm not. I'm kidding. All right, enough of that. I guess they just mentioned that Chick-fil-A just mentioned that they will no longer be using antibiotic-free chicken now. So now it's not. It's gonna have antibiotics in it now.
Okay.
People ain't gonna give a fuck. They're gonna still keep eating it.
Yeah, GMOs, antibiotics, salts, all that good stuff.
They don't care. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's that, man. Walmart. I don't know what to tell you, man. Y'all gonna have to cut this. You're gonna have to cut this shit out and get back to customer service.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Switching gears. This is the What in the World segment, and this is definitely one for the history books here. What in the world? Man takes body part from a scene of a deadly train collision in Kern County. This literally just happened, man. It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
And here it is. And the man started eating the fucking leg. Okay, so here it is. A man was arrested allegedly taking a severed body part from the scene of a train collision in Wasco, California. A man was arrested for allegedly taking severed body part from the scene of collision between an Amtrak train and a person on the track in Kern County. The incident happened in Wasco, a city just north of Bakersfield. A graphic video viral social media shows the man who authorities say took the body part from the scene. In the footage, he is seen carrying a severed lower leg and a foot down the street in the area. At one point, the man bent over and appeared to sniff the apparent body part. No, the other video showed him biting it. He was eating the fucking leg.
On the ground?
Yes, the price of groceries is ridiculous. If you eating legs, this is the only free food this nigga had all day.
Dang.
Man.
I wonder if it was good.
I don't know. He was just trying to get a leg up in society. Kern County Sheriff's deputies quickly swarmed the area and arrested that man. They are now studying that video for what could be numerous criminal charges. Look here. I don't know what the criminal charges would be because I'm confused, right? I don't know if cannibalism is a listed crime. Yeah. I mean, the only person that would make it like they would have to like do a case study, or not a case study, but a reference would be like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Like Dahmer was chopping people's legs up.
But he murdered those people. This is what I think, like, I don't know. Not to say that it's okay. That's kind of crazy.
No,
but
it's not.
I'm just saying, like, he just found a random leg on the ground. It ain't like he killed nobody and, like, he just, he wasn't no Jeffrey Dahmer type stuff. Like, he just was, the man was hungry. He seen a leg hanging out on the sidewalk, and then he just seen it as a meal.
Justice for him, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, to be real. Like, I don't even know, how do you, like, as a cop, that would just make me feel so weird. I'd be like, put the leg down. I probably would shoot him, to be honest.
Dang.
Put the leg down, man. Put it down. And he's like, I can't. I'm hungry, man. Fuck. I'm like, put the leg down, man. We'll get you something to eat. Like, you promise? I'm like, yeah, I promise, man. We'll get you something to eat.
Dang. That's crazy.
That motherfucker was putting hot sauce on that leg and eating it.
Dang.
That's insane. And you think that this is fabricated. Go to Google and look up this story of a man in Wasco, California that had a fucking leg walking down the street. There was a video that was posted from the original poster that popped up, and the man bent over, grabbed it, and started eating it, man.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why they blurred the leg out.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, because I seen one video where it was blurred out. It was just...
My question is, what the fuck are you doing on the train tracks, man? Like, it's just anybody. Like, what, like, it was...
People be on drugs, bro.
Yeah, he probably was on some shit.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, to be dismantled like that, like, you got to be on some drugs.
Yeah, he was on some...
both people's on drugs.
Yeah, I don't know. Because to be near that and to see the leg and say, you know what? I'll eat it. You got to be fucking nuts.
Yeah. I wonder if that's his first rodeo?
I don't know, man.
Like, I didn't see like the full video, but I imagine like the ease in which he seen that as a meal. Like, he sees a leg just hanging out in the street and he sees it as a meal. Like, can't be the first time.
This story is so Florida. This seems like it would happen in Florida, not like in our
is a Florida
not
story.
In our county. I don't see that,
Yeah.
Like, it's been, the thing that's crazy about Florida is you could be walking down the street minding your business, and all of a sudden you get bitten by a fucking alligator. And one dude was like, I was minding my business, man, and I was going to cash my check. Next thing I noticed, I'm fighting a gator.
Yeah.
And as they took me and a couple of my friends, we got that gator off of us. He got a good bite out of my leg, but I made it. I'm alive. I'm a fighter. You be like, bro.
Now I got me some new shoes and a belt to go with it.
I took that gator and turned him into boots.
Yeah.
Tell you what. God darn it.
Then I made some Gatorade.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, those alligators are fucking huge, man. They will literally, one dude was like, okay, today is December 4th, 2023, and I got a fucking alligator in my front yard. But I gotta go to work, so I gotta get around that gator. So I got to jump over him and get in my truck. I've done it before. I can make it. Oh my God, get him off! Get him off!
He was getting getting eaten.
This is a hypothetical story.
Oh, I thought it was a real story.
It sounded so real, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. There's a video that went viral recently. It's this young guy, this white dude, and he seen a wild coyote. And he got on one knee and he had his hand out. He's like, hey, buddy. And you could tell the coyote's kind of apprehensive. He's like walking forward, then he backs up. Then he gets close. And the guy is like basically going to pet him. And the coyote just switched and he just bit his hand. Argh! And he's like, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you, man?
It's not no dog.
Like, dude, this is not a fucking pet, you
this
dickhead.
This is an animal in the wild that like has to survive by eating other animals.
He bit the fuck out of him too. He's like, man, what's wrong with you, man? It's like, dog, I feel bad for the coyote, personally.
Yeah, like, why are you blaming the coyote for you being stupid?
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't call the coyote some like racial slur or something. Like, oh, you bit me, you nigger coyote. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Nah, the slur for a coyote, they call it a yote.
A what?
A yote. Get out of here, you yote.
Oh man. You wilding out. Get out of here, you trans coyote. Get out of here. That's satire, folks. It's just satire. It's satire, folks. It's all good. We're okay. We're fine, folks. We're all right. Yeah. But that's one story. It's fucking wild. That's like a Florida story. Somebody's chewing on a fucking leg. Mm-hmm. The next one that's pretty funny, and we'll just talk about these two in the one segment, is the Stanley Cups. You know those cups that people been going crazy over? Those Stanley Cups that, been selling out at Target and whatnot. They're like these titanium cups that hold temperature for a long
everybody
time.
know what a Stanley Cup is. You don't even gotta go into detail.
For those that are for those that live under, might be somebody that lives under a rock.
Hey,
right?
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of you guys be like, I just found a Truckers Mind podcast. I thought they were talking about trucks.
Yeah. But no, I was at my friend's wedding yesterday, and he works at a middle school here in Bakersfield. And he was I had made a joke about, him working at basically like a prison or whatever, a juvenile detention center. And he was like, yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, he's like, it was a fight. He said it was like a fight on Wednesday that we had to break up. And I was like, dang. And he was like, yeah, we had to ban the Stanley Cups because kids was using them as weapons in the fights. And I'm like, what the heck, man?
That's what I was getting into. These kids are starting to use those cups as weapons, man.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the way they sound when they're swinging them. They're like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's no different than a titanium bat. Like back in the day when we used to play baseball in junior high, we used those freaking titanium bats.
Yeah, so you could imagine. My bad to cut you off, but like something like this.
Oh yeah,
like but it's not like this. It probably got like a handle or whatever.
I'm gonna tell you,
but this is pretty solid.
Oh, that's very solid. That I'm telling you right now, that little latch at the back of that cup, and if you fill that motherfucker with water, you swing it, you will fuck somebody up.
Yeah, you got some leverage on that.
Oh man. It's bad. It'll be like a fucking David and Goliath when David had that freaking slingshot. What was that? Was that supposed to be a slingshot?
Yeah, he got a slingshot.
Or it wasn't really a slingshot. It was like it was like a swing.
It's like an old school slingshot.
Yeah.
It ain't like the ones like this. It's like more probably like that.
Yeah, I always wonder why David had to use a slingshot on Goliath. Man, that was kind of some. I don't know. He didn't have them hands. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I guess it was the equalizer, I guess.
Sometimes it's easier to just shoot somebody. Like if they just too big, you just gotta shoot them.
That's what it'd be. Somebody be like, yeah, you big. Yeah, you a big dude, but I got bullets for you. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to beat the shit out of this guy so he doesn't shoot me.
Yeah, that's like the BC days. BC, you had instead of having a 9mm, you just like David probably lived in Chicago.
I wonder what David would have did before BR. You know how they say BC? Uh-huh. Like, what would he have done before BR?
What's BR?
Before Rocks.
Rocks been around for forever.
Yeah, but the Rocks, the size he needed, man. That's nuts, man.
That was crazy.
Because back in the day, like, they would stone motherfuckers to death.
Yeah.
Stoning still be happening in some countries.
Probably in the Middle East, huh?
Yeah, you could literally get stoned to death. They picking up every size rock to throw at your motherfucking ass.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I think we don't stone people today, but it's crazy because a lot of that stuff, like, like with Jesus or any of these other like historical figures or whatever, like just back in that time, it would be off of an allegation or something like that, and it would just be people lined up throwing stones at different people for stealing or adultery or whatever the case may be. But I think we don't have that same thing, but we definitely have our own version of that, which is like social media, going in, or like these like hashtags, going crazy on people. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's biblical times was different.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, back then you didn't have to eat legs because they had one fish. How many fish did it take to feed how many people?
It's a fish and the bread. Jesus fed I forgot how many people it was, but yeah. He turned that bread and that fish to a whole.
I don't think this
meal.
is the right podcast to reference biblical things right now.
Man, God is in all of us.
Yeah, but I just had a conversation about Chick-fil-A workers giving head. I don't think this is the best segue. Would you like some head with that, sir? I'll be like, nah, not from you, man. Get your employee in there, man. Let me talk to your manager.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. That's funny.
All right. Switching gears.
Got the little porn music.
Oh wow.
You know what I hate? I hate when these these social media like TikTok or like YouTubers, they have gotten so comfortable with not getting their videos demonetized. So they'll say like, yeah, such and such was watching corn the other day.
Oh man,
people are having a lot of segs nowadays, and they're just like, you know, I'm like, this just sounds stupid.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you want to make money.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, to me, like if I think there'd be alternative words besides those. Mm-hmm. You could say relations instead of that. Like all people want to do is have relations. Yeah. Like that to me, you just gotta find, but don't use the word segs. That's fucking.
I work in the corn industry, and every time corn industry,
you can just say adult industry.
Yeah, you don't have to say corn.
Yeah, it's like you lack vocabulary, brother. You could use other words to get your point across.
Yeah, adult entertainment,
bro. Man, speaking of TikTok, man, I'm kind of sad that it's going to be coming to an end. But I think that OnlyFans is doing more destruction than fucking TikTok. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Why you say that?
Because it's literally, people are literally like, it's destroying marriages and relationships. Guys are literally, guys are subscribing to these pages and these
probably
images.
Spending a bunch of money and stuff like that.
Because a lot of men are stupid, man. No disrespect, but a lot of men are like, they go to strip clubs and shit like that and pay for OnlyFans, and it's like, bro, stop doing that, bro. Just
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad. It's incentivizing regular people to like do wild shit online too. Mm-hmm. That content is not going to. That content is eventually going to be free and all over the fucking internet.
I don't think so. I think the way that OnlyFans, I think there's a version of it because you could just kind of screen record it and just put it anywhere.
There are people that are taking that content and moving it around.
Yeah, people are definitely doing that. But the way that OnlyFans is set up is like they're pretty good with like their like disclaimers and stuff like that. So a lot of those people, they're able to get like some content like pretty. It's like I would say like some of the more popular people, like I think I don't know who like the number one people are, but they're still making a lot of money, and that's partly due to the way that like their stuff is structured. Like there's a paywall, like even for like Patreon and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Some of those things leak. Like if you'll see like Joe Budden might hide an interview or like something about Drake behind the paywall, but for the most part, like it's pretty. It ain't crazy all over the internet. Like, you know, a lot of that stuff kind of sticks behind a paywall. Because if you post it on YouTube, it's going to get flagged. If you post it on like Instagram or something like that, it might get flagged just because the way they got they algorithms and stuff set up. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Switching gears. Quiet on set. I guess it's this is one of the most viral conversations that are taking place. One of the most popular, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Everything you need to know about the new documentary Quiet on Set and the indictment of the kids in TV industry. So to narrow this down, there were some very sick older people that have fucking kids. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that'll narrow it down for you. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But this is something that has been going on for quite some time. Even Corey Feldman in the 80s had mentioned that there were prominent figures that were in, you know, around these TV shows and around these kids and that were doing things. And in this one, it says producer and screenwriter Dan Schneider, far left, with Jamie Lynn Spears, Emma Roberts, and other Nickelodeon stars and creators in 2003. And it says, shows the Getty images there, but he's got his hands all on her shoulders. He just looks like he's a piece of shit. Fat fucking loser. It's been a turbulent few years for Nickelodeon as more of the stories have surfaced about Dan Schneider, the creator of many shows, including All That, The Amanda Show, iCarly, Victorious, and Sam and Cat. What? Yes, Sam and Cat. I don't remember that.
That's that girl Amanda Crossgroves and Jeanette McCurdy. Yeah.
Okay. And his inappropriate behavior on set. Now, Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV. A 4-episode documentary series directed by Mary Robertson and Emma Schwartz has delved more deeply into the dysfunction behind the scenes. Below, find everything. But okay, how many years of alleged wrongdoings does documentary cover? Quiet on Set takes viewers all the way back to the early 1990s when Snyder was first hired at Nickelodeon, and carries the narrative forward to the present day. Journalists, including whoever, provide the context for the immense power Snyder amassed within the children's TV industry during his many decades in Hollywood. What celebrities have spoken out about Snyder's Nickelodeon toxic culture? His homeboy, is that dude, former Zoe 101 actor Alexa Nicholas, has been calling out Snyder and Nickelodeon since 2022, alleging that the network failed to protect her from the abuse on set while she was filming the show Jeanette McCurdy. One of the stars of iCarly also claimed her best-selling 2022 memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, that Nickelodeon offered her what amounted to hush money to prevent her from going public with her own experiences. Additionally, former Drake and Josh star Drake Bell has opened up about being sexually abused by Nickelodeon dialogue coach Brian Peck.
Brian Peck got a crazy name.
Yeah, these people are sick, man. The thing about it is, we talked about it earlier. We said that this is not so much like a crazy Hollywood situation. It's more of a power thing. And anybody that has power that happens to have these, that's not even primal urges. These are like inappropriate urges. There are people that are in such high positions of power that they don't even want sex. They just want to like do humiliation to people. Like we were watching, was it Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Where I guess they both had reached this prominent dude and he wanted them to like crawl and bark like a dog.
Yeah, like lick each other.
Like lick each other and sniff each other and shit. Like people be doing weird shit. Like weird shit like, oh my God, let me see your feet. Please put ketchup on your toes. Like weird shit. But this motherfucker happened to be in the kids. And it's bad. Like even, who was it? There was a boy band that also, there was some dude that was trying to fuck them too. Well, no. He wasn't literally fucking them, but he was fucking them on their deals and their money. Was it NSYNC?
I'm not sure. I know NSYNC. I know they had talked about going on tour, selling 10 million albums and all this stuff, and then they got like a $100 check or something.
Yeah, it was either NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys, one of them. But that manager they had was fucking them over. It's a predatory industry, man.
I think that I would push back on you. You said it's not primal; it's more like a power thing. I think part of it is primal because there's one guy on there. He was I think he was one of the PAs on one of the Nickelodeon shows, and they pulled up. He basically, they didn't say exactly what he did. I don't know if they actually like was able to catch him doing anything, but they had eventually found him. He sent some nudes to like, the girl was like maybe 9 years old, and she was just one of the,
oh my God,
like the side, like kind of like a background character on one of the shows. She wasn't even like a huge, like one of the bigger names. He sent the girl like, he was having an email conversation. He was like, hey, like let's exchange emails so we can keep in touch. And then it started off normal, how it always does, right? It's just casual conversation like, hey, I'm working on this show. How is life? Blah, 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 blah. And then like all of a sudden, like, the nigga he sent her like a video of him just beating his meat or something. It says like, hey, this is just to let you know that I'm thinking about you, or some wild stuff.
And that's the fucking Dan Snyder?
No, not Dan Snyder. This is this is a PA on the show.
Oh my God.
So that happens, but I say that, what I would push back on is, in part of his conversation is like, hey, I know this is wrong, but it's just something about this is just like, it's just calling me to do it kind of thing. So it's something, we've had the conversation about the whole like psychology behind these things. But I think that there is something like, it's more sickness than it is like, I think there's some power dynamic, and then some of it is just sickness. Like they can't help but
yeah. Not related to the story, but there's a parallel in the sickness between these adults and these child bands or talent. Okay, and this is NSYNC. It says, in quote, the worst thing was people thinking we were rich, but we were not. Bass, basically Lance Bass said, we were famous, but not rich. I made way more music after NSYNC than I did during NSYNC. He added that the band's former manager, Lou Pearlman, really took a majority of all of their stuff, and the record label too. Horrible deals. People writes that Pearlman, who died in prison in 2016 at age 62, created a band and was notorious for a $300 million Ponzi scheme when he mishandled the group's finances and was later sued by several members of the different boy bands, including the Backstreet Boys. He was convicted of fraud in 2008. So these are
300 M's.
Yeah, just some sick motherfuckers dealing with young talent and just mishandling everything.
There was also another guy that actually, he was an editor on Nickelodeon. He edited some of the shows, and he was also I forget what he got caught doing, or I know it was something with, obviously one of the underage, I think underage girls on the set, but he was actually on To Catch a Predator. Like they set it up like, how they always do. Like he get there and the girl's like, hey, how's the drive? And he's like, oh, it's good. I come from North Hollywood and stuff like that. And then that nigga Chris Hansen walks out. He's like, hey man, how's it going? He's like, and he just kind of like shoot out of there. He's like, hey, don't you work on kids TV shows and stuff like that? And he's like, oh, I gotta get up. I gotta go.
It's too late.
Yeah.
They tackled that nigga in the outside.
No, I don't even think they tackled. I don't know. Yeah, I think they did tackle him.
Yeah,
they tackled him, and then they brought him in for the interview or whatever. And it's just like, these are the people that are working around kids. Like some of these guys had records. Some of these, guys, if you did a simple background check on some of these people, you would realize that they had records.
I think it's crazy when these people, and there's been all kinds of people that went into the Catch a Predator. There's been like firemen and principals and teachers and fucking actors and directors, all kinds of shit. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, I'm Chris Hansen. Take a seat. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, I think I'm at the wrong place. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. And they tackle him all outside. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he said, and then, well, when they do sit down, he reads them the messages. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, so were you aware that this person was 14? He's like, well, they looked a lot older. I figured they were playing around, but they said that they were 14, but I thought they were 21.
Yeah.
I never wanted to date. I've never dated anybody underage. I never would try that. Yeah. I actually came to stop them from what they were doing.
Yeah. I was just coming here to protect them. They said their mom wasn't here, so I just came to basically watch over them until their mom got back.
And then Chris Hansen bust out the nastiest message. He's like, so from the transcripts here, you say you want to put grease on his butthole. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but I only meant that it was hypothetical. Yeah. It was only hythetical. I didn't mean that in the wrong way.
It was just like A&D ointment. He told me he had a rash, so I figured that I would just put some A&D.
I was giving him a solution for hemorrhoids. I thought it was something that he could, some form of ointment or oil that he could use to kind of lubricate his booty hole.
They were having like an excuse for everything.
He's like, so you're a youth pastor, right? He says, right here, you say you want to fuck him in his ass. Is that what you said? He's like, but I meant that it was, it was an example of what is not godly in this world. And I wanted to make sure he understood exactly what I felt.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's not what I'm saying here. Mm-hmm. He said you want to eat his ass like groceries. So I meant groceries like in a grocery store, not like it was a figure of speech. It wasn't like a literal thing. Is there anything else you want to say before you get out of here? Chris, can you please tell me nobody's going to tackle me when I go outside? I can't guarantee you that, but I mean, is there anything else you want to tell me before you get out of here? Yeah. Yes, Chris, like this was not my intention. You have a nice day. As soon as he walk outside, get on the ground. Yeah. Get on the ground right now. Get on the ground.
Like 5 guns drawn and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's crazy. I think the craziest, the most this is how I watched it. I watched it like, and I texted Eddie this too. I watched the first episode because it was the hottest thing, on social media. So it's like 12 midnight or something, and I just cut it on because I'm like, man, I got to see what everybody's talking about. Like at first I was like, I'm not really interested in this, like, because it just seems like, because there are a lot of these documentaries that come out, and they're not really saying anything. A lot of it is allegations. A lot of it is not really supported by facts and documents and stuff like that. It's just like a bunch of he say, she say stuff, right? So I watched the first episode, and honestly, like the first episode was just kind of like, it was a toxic work environment. That's how I would describe it. And then I would also describe it as like the guy doing like inappropriate stuff with kids. But there wasn't nothing that I seen that was like pretty much illegal, like when you watch like the first episode. So I'm like, this is not like, this is kind of like, it's kind of mid in terms of like it being such a big deal. And then all of a sudden at the end of the episode, they start alluding to Brian Peck, and they start alluding to like these people, and they start alluding to the fact that he got convicted, and the person was John Doe in the thing because the person was like 15 years old or 16 years old at the time. Wow. And then all of a sudden they said, it was like, I think that this documentary will probably win like some sort of like Emmy Awards or like, you know, limited series awards or something like that. Just the way it was like kind of put together. But at the end of the thing, they just show the feet walking from behind the thing. And then all of a sudden it's Drake Bell. And he's like, yo, I'm ready to tell my story. I've never told my story before. And then the whole second episode is essentially, you know, and I won't, you know, run over the whole thing, but essentially it's a story about how Drake Bell was like this promising star on the Amanda Show. Like he kind of had like a guest appearance on him and Josh Peck. So, you know, and all these kids are super talented. They're funny. They're kind of like, you know, like, you know, some of them are like teenagers, 10, 12, 11 years old. They're just like super charismatic, and all of them like are on Nickelodeon for a reason, and they all got their own shows for a reason. But his dad was like super protective over him, and he would see Brian Peck, and he said, I seen Brian Peck doing certain things, and I just knew in my mind I had a bad feeling about him. So I didn't want him around my son in any capacity. And he said, I ran it by certain people, and one of the person he ran it by was like, I think you're just being homophobic. Like, you know, he's gay, and, you know, it's like, I think you're just being homophobic. Don't like, he's not really, you know, don't worry about him kind of thing. And he was like, I don't know. But so they kind of like shunned him off. Right. And he was like, there was one time when I seen Leonardo DiCaprio standing with Brian Peck, and he was rubbing his shoulders and rubbing his elbow and stuff like that, and he was just a little too close, and that's when I knew like I got to keep my son away from this guy.
Whoa.
So fast forward, Brian gets he's the dialogue and the acting coach, right? So he's kind of working closely with, you know, all the actors and stuff like that, and he's especially with Drake Bell. So he's getting more and more close. There was a situation where like the work started picking up, and he was doing a lot more auditions and stuff like that, and basically Brian kind of like conjured up this plan to separate Drake from his dad, because his dad was his manager. He was telling Drake things like, hey, I think your dad is stealing money. You know, like your dad's not good for your career. He's a little jealous. You know, all these like little sprinkles of things that he was putting in Drake Bell's head. So fast forward, he separated himself from his dad. His dad was heartbroken because his dad not only wanted to protect him from the industry.
That's what terrible people do. They want to separate you from your family. That's how any toxic person,
the people that really care, right? Mm-hmm. So his dad was heartbroken, but he was like, I don't want to cause any more conflict with my son, so I'm going to just give him what he wants. So he turned over and Drake's dad and his mom were separated, or they weren't together. So he turned over the accounts, everything. He dropped it, like everything. And then his mom took care of him, but his mom was not like as involved. You know, his mom wasn't the manager. She was just kind of like, I'll let Brian take you to the audition. I don't want to drive to LA every day or whatever. So he's spending more and more time with Brian. And eventually he was like, it turned into me, Brian dropping me off at home after all these auditions to like, hey, you know, it's kind of late. You know, why don't you stay over? You know, why don't you spend the night? So after a few, you know, times, he's sleeping on the couch and everything like that. And he said he just woke up one day, and that nigga was just like he didn't say what he was doing. He said he just sexually assaulted him.
Oh my God.
Like he wake up out of his sleep to this man, who knows, grabbing on him or touching him in some way, shape, or form. And then he kind of brushed that off like, hey, I'm so sorry, super apologetic about it. And mind you, he like the most famous kid on Nickelodeon at this time while all of this is happening. So fast forward, he starts doing more and more stuff until eventually, like, he's literally just like having sex with this thing, and it's like an ongoing thing. And it's like he can't escape it, because he's like with this guy so often. And as a kid, he's 15 years old, 16 years old. Like, he doesn't know where to go, who to tell, all these different things. So eventually Drake gets a girlfriend, and he's hanging out at this girl's house, and his phone just starts blowing up, going crazy, back-to-back calls, back-to-back, and Drake is just ignoring it. Eventually, he starts calling the girl's house, calling the girl's. I don't know how he got the number to the girl's house. He starts blowing up the girl's house back-to-back, and I think the mom answers or something like that. She answered the phone, and she's like, hey, what's going on? Then she gives it to Drake. He's like, hey, man, we're supposed to hang out. We're supposed to go to Disneyland. He's like, oh, sorry, I kind of double booked. Like, maybe we can go tomorrow or whatever. And he's like, no, man, like, we made a plan. Like, you can't back out on our plans and all this other stuff. He's like, hey, man, like, I'm just going to hang out with my girl today or whatever. And eventually, like, they hang up the phone. And then the mom was like, that's different. Yeah, that's not normal. Mm-hmm. So he's like, hey, Drake, can you come talk to me in the kitchen or whatever? And she's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, nothing. He just, we had some plans. It didn't work out. He's kind of a little frustrated, whatever the case may be. She's like, nah, it's something going on. He's like, no, it's just, there's nothing wrong. And then she's like, I don't know what's going on, but she's like, I'm going to set you up with a therapist. I'm going to let your mom know and all these different things. So even when he go to the therapist, same sort of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, it's like, it's nothing going on. Too. And then eventually, that he gets outed, but it's so much more. But the guy, even with the guy Brian Peck, he was having. They said they went into his house. His house was super weird. He had John Wayne Gacy as a pen pal. The serial killer.
Oh yeah, the one that's locked up. Yeah,
mm-hmm. He was a pen pal for him, and he had actual letters, and he was bragging about the letters he had to people, like, hey man, this is my guy, like, and he had a painting of him, it was like a self-portrait or something like that he had from him, and he was like literally showing these people, like, he had this real friendship with this serial killer.
Oh my god.
But that was just one of the
John Wayne Gacy was that fat guy.
Mm-hmm. I think he was like convicted of murdering young boys too. But anyways, fast forward, the cat's out of the bag. I think they raid his house or something like that, and then they find all these crazy things. I think they found different. I don't know if they found porn, child porn, all these different things, right? So eventually, Drake gets on trial, and they go through the whole thing, and everything is under John Doe, and it's a different time, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going to the court without TMZ around, like in 2024, that would not fly. Like, the biggest kid, like, I don't know who the biggest, child star is nowadays, but, you could just imagine, like, the biggest child star going to court. It wouldn't, there's no way, shape, or form that person's identity would be able to be under wraps. But somehow it flew under the radar for so long. So he's going to court, they go through the whole thing, and then in the documents is everything from, like, sodomy to, like, and I would just say what it was, because I hate when people try to, like, sugarcoat it. Like, swallowing cum and, like, what do you call it? Like, I forget how they describe it, but putting inanimate objects in, like, all these different, like, wild stuff. And Drake doesn't even describe it. He says, I don't want to say what it is because it's just too traumatic for me. But he says, just imagine the worst thing possible a person could do to somebody. And yes, that happened. Oh my That's God. How he described it. So they get into court.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just read the end of it. But they get into court. Drake is on. I think he gets on the stand and basically tells everything that happens, and it's like kind of the time where he is about to be convicted. And they said they got like 41 different letters from his peers and different actors and stuff in Hollywood. some of the kids from Boy Meets World, and that dude Marsden, or I forget his name, I forget his first name, but one of those actors. There's a bunch of actors that basically came to his defense, saying like, you know, he was a great person. I can't see him doing his things. Some of them was saying like, if this did happen, he was probably coerced into doing it.
Oh my God.
Like some wild stuff. He said I went into the court and it was just my mom. I think he said my lawyer, and it was just a few people on his side. And then he said his side was packed.
Oh my God.
He said some names in Hollywood too. All of them sitting over there on his side. So they give him 16 months or whatever the case may be. He goes and, you know, and gives his spiel or whatever, but he has to call his dad. And he said, "Hey Dad, they finally caught him." And he's like, "Man, I'm so glad he didn't get to you." Cause he was like, "I was so worried that, you know, he would get to you." And he was like, "Yeah, Dad, you know, I'm glad they got him too. I'm glad they got him before he got to me." And then he said, eventually I had to tell my dad. He said his dad it just broke his heart. So, I mean, and after that, he was able to work on, you know, another show on Disney after he served his time, and yeah, the rest is history.
It's sick, man. And the John Wayne Gacy thing is, this is who John Wayne Gacy was. The dude was bragging about being pen pals. John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer and sex offender who raped and tortured and murdered at least 33 young men and boys in Norwood Park Township near Chicago, Illinois. He became known as the Killer Clown due to his public performances as a clown prior to the discovery of crimes. Now, here's the common denominator. Any adult that is fighting to be around children in any capacity, watch that motherfucker. Watch that motherfucker. And you notice that a lot of them are getting busted. Right? What's his name? Mr. Hackleroad at Bakersfield High School got busted fucking with a kid.
I don't know.
It's a long time ago. He got fired, and he's a sex offender now.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's a couple. I don't want to put nobody's name out there because it's Bakersfield, but there's a prominent athlete that, you know, that's from Bakersfield that it was like he
porn
was
on his
he was like
computer?
a vice principal. He had a bunch of child pornography on his computer.
yeah, this John Wayne Gacy, he's a sick motherfucker.
Yeah.
33, and his sodomy was the crime. Murder, 33 counts, indecent liberties, and child deviate sexual assault. It's like, you gotta realize, man, like there's some wild motherfuckers out there. Mm-hmm. Wild, because they had and what's sick about it too is are you familiar with the Night Stalker? Mm-mm. Night Stalker was in Los Angeles in 1985. It was literally probably about a few months after I was born. There was this dude. What's his name? Something Ramirez. Hold on. This guy was
the Mexican dude?
Yeah, the dude was a fucking nut job.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He just had crazy in his eys.
Oh my God. You could just look at him and there was just something about this guy. Mm-hmm. Richard Ramirez. Yeah. Richard Ramirez, dubbed the Night Stalker. This guy, let's see, whose crime spree took place in California from June 1984 until his capture in August 1985. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 1989. He died while awaiting execution. This dude had 11 rape counts, murders. This dude was just crazy. But basically, to make a long story short with him, is people are sick. So that dude that had John Wayne Gacy as a pen pal,
Brian Peck.
Yeah, Brian Peck. Mm-hmm. There were women that were showing up to court saying that they loved Ramirez. Mm-hmm. Like they were literally like he had a fan base of women that were showing up.
Yeah. That's the same thing with Jeffrey Dahmer. Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy.
Not Jeffrey Dahmer, but
I know Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, yeah, sorry, Ted Bundy.
I'm just like, what the fuck is going? What is up with women and murderers, bro?
Yeah.
They be loving watching those murder shows.
Yeah.
Murder mystery shows.
Mm-hmm. I got to show you my short film. It's almost done, but it kind of like that's the theme of the thing, like our society's infatuation with serial killers. And I think it's an important conversation to have. So
yeah, there's a very eerie thing with Ted, because if you look at Ted Bundy, if you like look at photos of this guy, right? if you look at him, let's see, I'm looking at some old pictures. If you look at Ted Bundy, he looks like he could be, I don't know, maybe a lawyer, maybe a teacher.
Yeah, he did his own. He fired his lawyer, and he basically handled his own case.
Yeah, you see him. He's being charismatic. He's giggling and smiling while he's up there, but he was torturing women.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the thing that this is the thing that's sick about it, and we'll move on from this though. But what's sick about it is with this guy, women that see attractive men automatically get disarmed. Like all of a sudden, if a woman's at the bar, she's having a drink, she's probably there alone. She's, maybe she's recently divorced or single, and this handsome guy comes up. Automatically, she just disarms herself, and you don't know that it's this motherfucker.
Yeah,
right. That it's this guy.
That's the thing though with all these things, and like they're all charming. They're not necessarily like great looking, but there's like a charming element to all of it. I mean, that's how because there's no way to get close to a person if you are not charismatic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Ted Bundy was that, and it was a bunch of women. There was one woman that was literally dating him and having an off and on again, like sexual relationship with Ted Bundy, and she said that, he never, obviously he didn't kill her, and she didn't get the vibe that he wanted to kill her, but he was killing women while he was fucking with her.
It was two women, one that he ended up marrying, and then the other girl that he ended up he basically was like his longtime girlfriend prior to the case. But the one girlfriend, the longtime girlfriend, she was saying like it's always in retrospect, right? Like in retrospect, there was like a couple instances where I felt like he had the urge, like, cause it's a primal urge for those people. Like they just kind of get off on it. But she was like, there was a couple instances where I felt like he wanted to kill me, but like he just had an affinity for me, so he probably didn't. But yeah everybody else got beat up.
Yeah, I think about this too, like Darren Sharper, the safety for the Packers and the Saints.
Yeah,
and how that dude was. Whereas you're a multimillionaire, you're one of the best players at your position, and you are such a serial rapist that eventually you have cases in different states where it's happening, and women are coming out saying, hey, this motherfucker is crazy, he's doing these things. And then he gets outed. It was so bad that, and it sounded so wild that Deion Sanders was defending him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Deion was like, I'm praying that he get the justice. And then Deion went and he got on NFL Network, and he was crying, and he's like, he felt terrible. He's like, I can't believe he lied, and he was just a monster.
Yeah, that's like, that's the difference between like the Brian Peck situation and Darren Sharper, is that some of those people actually knew what he did, and they still wrote. Yeah, it's different if like, for example,
what do you call it, a letter of what?
I don't know what they're called, like a judge character letters or something like that. Yeah. But if I know Brian, if I'm say, an actor and he never did nothing wrong to me in any sort of way, and he was just kind of like the feminine guy around and whatever, and I didn't know what he all did, I would be like, nah, that's wild. So I might do it. But if and you still kind of support this person in that way, that's wild. Because I think he had to admit to some of those people, because I think he pled guilty to some of the charges, and he still got character letters from some of them people.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. The
Lord.
thing that I would say is there's like more. I think I'm not gonna say everybody should watch it, because I know that's traumatic for some people. But the thing that I would say is, like, for me, being in entertainment and me having the desire as a kid to want to be an actor, I was literally crying. Like when I heard Drake's story, I was sitting in my bed watching it on my phone, just crying, because I'm like, dog, like I'm seeing myself in that situation. And like I said, some of the stuff with like the black actors on all that, like it wasn't OD, but the Drake Bell, like that's the situation where, I saw myself as like a 15, 13-year-old kid, like in that situation where you could see how, like you're working with adults and, just different people on set and stuff like that. And I can literally see myself in that situation where, you're getting taken advantage of by an adult. And I was just crying because it's just this innocent kid that is is just being taken advantage of. And it's crazy too, because like I've worked with kids on short films and stuff like that, and obviously I'm not on that type of time, but you can see how the parents are, like, I get it, like you want to blame the parents and the parents should be there and stuff like that, but the parents are essentially like trusting the organization. You know what I mean? She's trusting the people that are doing this. And it's no different than a parent dropping their kids off at soccer practice. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in situations where my mom would drop me off at football practice and then she go home and then she come back in an hour and a half and pick me up. Like, that's the norm. Not to say that there's wrong or there's not, that we don't need to blame the parents.
Absolutely.
That's pretty regular. And
absolutely,
it's just a situation that is very, very disheartening. That's going on.
There's some absolute monsters in this world, man, and there's some terrible people. The documentary that got me the worst was the Gabriel Fernandez one, and that was the story of the young boy that he was. It was like beyond neglect. It was abuse, neglect, and torture of a young boy, and I was in tears, bro. Like, that shit had me fucked up. It was so bad. They would starve him and they would put him in like a cupboard and close it and lock it and not feed him, not give him no water, nothing. He started having bruises on him from abuse, and it was the mom's boyfriend was beating on him. They were both beating on him, taking turns, and it got so bad that he was eating cat litter. And when he finally died, they did an autopsy, and that shit had me crying. And they were taking the stuff from his intestines, and it was like, this is consistent with cat litter.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
poison.
How? And this is local. I think this is in Palmdale.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how could somebody be so subhuman to treat somebody like that? And that shit, oh man, that shit got me. I think what really fucks me up, like, the tears you had, you related it to where, like, this could have been this could have been me, this could have been other kids. But there's just, when people fuck with kids, that really hurts me. Yeah. Even though I don't have kids, it's just like, why the kids, bro?
It's a level of innocence. That's why it's like, I think, watching that documentary is interesting because it kind of speaks to the toxicity on these sets.
Right.
But I almost wish they didn't relate it to all the other. Like, I almost wish Dan Schneider and his toxicity was not related to all the other stuff, because it's almost like, sexually assaulting somebody versus like subliminal racism it's day and night. You know what I mean? And I like I said, like what you were talking about, like those situations really tug at your heart. Like I said, because I'm watching the first episode like, okay, but then the second on, it's just like, oh my gosh.
This
and then
is so bad.
You see the way some of these people end up, like you said with Corey Feldman, when you seeing him on drugs, when you seeing Amanda Bynes, like she was like a prodigy.
Fucking Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Her mental health is
Britney
terrible.
Spears, you want another one. Amanda Bynes was doing stand up at the Laugh Factory. She's like 9 years old. She got the whole crowd roaring, Yeah. And somebody was writing her jokes, but like that's how she got discovered. And now when you see her, she got like a freaking mullet. She got a tattoo on her face.
Yeah,
like her voice is different.
It's wild, man.
Yeah,
it's like, what are these kids seeing? I remember this is unrelated, but it's mentioning kids. I remember I mentioned this on my own podcast, the Orlando Sunset podcast, about like safe driving. But like when something is affecting a kid, it really hurts too, because you realize there's some form of negligence sometimes with adults even when it comes to driving, where you put kids in harm's way in any way. But there's a place near Ridgecrest called Trona, and out there it's kind of dangerous when you're on Highway 178 because the roads kind of curve and shit like that. And I remember early in the morning, I would go out to get a load of dirt out there in Trona, and on the way back, what do you call those things when they have like somebody dies like on a highway and they put like a cross and candles? Is that a vigil?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if visual is the event, but I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they call it. They leave like a something there, like
some sort of memoriam,
like a memoriam, basically. And there was this picture of this little boy. He couldn't have been no more than like 5 years old. It was a large picture of a little boy, and he had X-Men toys, and it was candles and stuff. And nigga, I cried every morning, nigga. Every morning I drove by that, I was just like, man, like, and it would fuck me up because I see the toys and I see the kid, and it just like, and from that day, it just made me a little more frustrated when I seen people doing careless things, like people who drive fast in parking lots, or, you know, people that just do really crazy shit in traffic. I'll be like, man, y'all don't realize you about to change somebody's life, you know, doing this.
Yeah, it's real, man. And I like that. That's the sad. I think the sadness comes from like one, either seeing yourself in it or seeing somebody that you love, you know, resembled in some of these incidents.
Absolutely.
I guess my question is like, what do we do, right? Because there are some people that I don't like this revisionist history where people act like this would never happen to my son because I'm always going to be there or whatever. Like, you know, there's like these people like, you know, the parents should be blamed for this because they didn't care and all this other stuff. But like in reality, like I said, you know, my niece goes to like she does gymnastics, right? And most of the parents hang out for the hour, but you know, they'll hang out and they'll be like doing work on their tablet or maybe reading a book or whatever the case may be. Like, so I'm just saying, you know, there's opportunities for these things to happen.
Absolutely.
And as great of a father as Drake's dad was, you know, it even happened to him. So I would say like, what do we do? You know, I think for me, when I think about it, it sounds to me like the best thing that you can do is just kind of give your kids the kind of warning signs. But I don't even think that will work. I think maybe the best thing to do is just hopefully giving your kid the space to like just express what's going on.
I think that there's some level of like, I won't say being oblivious, but sometimes you expect better of the world than what can happen.
Yeah.
Like I think that these things happen, and when they do happen, it puts people on high alert. But there's a certain time where we're so oblivious to the evils in the world that we're gonna be like, nobody's gonna try to fuck my kid. Like nobody's gonna try to get them in a room and have sex with them. Like nobody's that. Like this is Hollywood. They're gonna, you know, he's one of the most popular kids on the show. They're not gonna do anything. Like even if you're not verbally saying this, even if you don't have internal dialogue about it, like you just don't even see it because it's so sick. So you can't always blame the parents, man.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't like that because the parent. I mean, no one wants that to happen to their kids.
Absolutely
all those
not.
Parents that were on that documentary were like extremely saddened by that whole situation. Yeah.
There was a TikTok that went viral recently of a man that he had found two individuals that had molested his son, and he killed both of them. This is recent, within the last couple days. And he called the police, and he said, this is I'm just putting this out here. You ain't gonna see me for a while, but I don't feel bad about what I did. These two individuals molested my son, and I'm done for. And I was just like, what the fuck? It's a real story. He found them, and it's like, and there was people in the comment section that was like, we're praying for you, you know?
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, bro, we could say things like, you know, oh, you know, nobody deserves to die, this and that. But a person who would victimize a child is already dead on the inside, and they evil. You know, I don't know.
I think above all, they're sick.
They're very sick.
Yeah, and not in a way where I'm trying to absolve them from
exactly.
but I'm saying like these are people that are like, they don't even have the consciousness to not do these things. Like that's why you see the people on To Catch a Predator on there multiple times. That's why you see the nigga from Nickelodeon that's the editor that, you know, has already been, you know, convicted or tried or for whatever, but then he goes on there again. You know what I mean? So I think that like sometimes the best option is just for them to be dead, so they can't hurt nobody. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think, I don't know. That's a tough situation. I'm praying for that family, because that stuff is that ain't no joke, dude. That stuff is real. As far as like, even with the Drake situation, a lot of that stuff. I forget who was talking about it. Like when you're getting sexually assaulted by a man, even if you're a straight, like I'm talking about like a straight kid, like, a heterosexual kid getting assaulted by another man. Sometimes they start to like question their sexuality and all kind of other stuff. Yeah. So that stuff is like damaging to their brain.
It was a wide receiver that literally talked about it, and I forgot what show he brought it up on, but he was a really good receiver. Mm-hmm. It'll come to me, but he mentioned it, how he was molested, and everybody just couldn't believe it. Everybody was just in shock.
Yeah,
because you got this professional football player who is a wide receiver, muscular dude, fast, athletic, but he was a victim. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's just bad. Like this is an unfortunate topic. We choose not to really talk about these things too often, but there is a world out there full of very ill people, and this is a subject that is a very, I won't say popular, but it's a very well-known thing. Mm-hmm. For those that do have the stomach to watch the documentary, watch it. Just watch it to get more clarity on this situation. And also, if you have children and they have aspirations of becoming, some type of a child star or working around adults in any capacity, you need to have high alert.
Yeah, and that keyword, key phrase, in any capacity.
Absolutely.
This is happening at sports,
high schools,
Olympic gymnastics.
Yeah.
Like you said, high schools, teacher, children situations. Wrestling, all these different scenarios, the same sort of things are happening. So, yeah, just be on the lookout for that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have much else to add to this, man. I think let me go ahead and wrap it up, man. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, if you made it to the end of this episode, I'm sorry for bringing your day down. But if you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fink.
We're out of here.
Peace.